So basically, through my years of doing voluntary work, counseling, as well as teaching, okay, I wear various hats. Okay, when I am a teacher, I see I have to, my priority is totally different when I am a counselor. So part of how effective communication going to work very effectively is because we need to understand the other party's priorities. Okay, like what is your parents' priorities, what is your friends' priority, what is your teacher's priorities. So we will go through it. Okay, so first things first, right? Effective communication is as actually a powerful tool that is given to us by God, in order to communicate with the people around us. Okay, can be our pillar of support, can be our friends, can be someone that we only met for the first time. Okay, our spouse, our girlfriend, boyfriend. Okay, I know you all like to think about this, always asking me questions macam mana nak berbual dengan girlfriend boleh macam gini, macam mana nak gitu. Okay, those are, these are the power of communication. All right, answer your questions to every aspects of who you are actually trying to deliver your message with. Okay, in order for a communication to be effective, like I said, you need to understand the other party that you are trying to communicate, their responsibilities and their priorities. Okay, communication, right? Communication tool is a tool that is given by God towards us, a very powerful tool. Even today, the social media, okay, tapi is always being wrongly used or sometimes misunderstood. Okay, this we are not just talking about school, teenage level. We are also talking about media, wow, fake media and stuff, fake news, and even how sometimes when we create policies for the people, right, kind of sometimes can be misleading. This is because of certain breakdowns in communication. So today, in the context of you all as students, as youth, okay, some of your queries, some of your worries. How do I communicate with my parents? How do I communicate with my teachers? Okay, saya faham. I know that as a teenager, you often feel being judged or being wrong by the adults. Okay, you often feel that as teenagers, adults don't understand our feelings and what we are going through. Okay, adult figures in our lives like our parents, our teachers, authority figures, or even some of our slightly older friends, okay, don't really understand us. So the question next will be, okay, why don't adult believe or trust me? So guys, this question keeps on lingering into your mind. I know, okay, and trust me, all right, I know how you feel because I've experienced it myself as a student and I've witnessed it myself when I was a teacher. I feel that some students really require a listening ear. However, the adult figures that they are supposed to, kind of like listen to them doesn't really, carry out their responsibility well. So, saya percaya kadang-kadang kesalahan dia, the breakdown in communication also lies on the adults like us. Okay? But the reason why sometimes adults as well as adults always have the upper hand, I always call this the 51-49 factor. Adults, whatever they talk, okay, 51% is the minimum of chances people would believe what they say. Whereas as a youth, okay, 49% is the maximum of what adults will believe in the credibility of your story. So when this mentality comes in, right, in most adults, no matter how much you try to fight, no matter how much you try to argue, you are always on the losing side. And I know it kinds of like feel very suck to always feel on the losing side, especially if you are trying to tell the truth. So I come up with several ways, okay, several methods that maybe in the future you can use when you are talking to your parents, you're talking to your teachers. Usually, okay, in our youth life, sekarang ni, in some of you all have a lot of pillar of support. Okay, mostly your pillar of support, of course, the first one happens to be your parents lah. Then followed by your teachers, okay, your friends, and then okay, your family members, macam your siblings ke apa-apa. Of course, then if you are very lucky, you have like your mentors, you know, to be your another additional pillar of support, your school counselors. Every one of these pillar of support ada a different responsibility. So now, with that being said, maksudnya every one of your pillar of support, you need to communicate differently. You cannot communicate to your parents macam mana you communicate to your teachers. Okay? So, and vice versa. With that being said, kadang-kadang when I do workshop for parents, I also tell parents that they cannot communicate with their children like how their teachers communicate with them. And parents, alright, they also agree to that. So basically, bagi saya, alright, kesalahan tu perlu diterima, right, have to be accepted by all parties in order to generate a very effective communication. So, when you have a misunderstanding that often happens when parents, teacher, or others fail to listen to your side of your story or argument and put judgment upon you. How many of you students, okay, how many of you feel that every time you try to tell the truth, but adult figures in your school, ataupun sometimes even your family members, your parents, don't believe in the logic, don't believe in your story? How many of you ever felt it that way? Okay, I know I felt it that way before. Okay, no matter how I try to argue, how I try to explain, tetap tak itu. So now we want to think about what are the ways that we can actually, you know, communicate very, very effectively with them. But before that, let's go through certain pillar of support yang you all ada, that you all have. Okay, let's say, and then look through their priorities first. Once you understand their priorities, then you will understand, then you will know how to manage, how to communicate based on their priorities. Okay, like your parents, their main responsibility and their priorities is to take care of your well-being, right? Provide you with the best in terms of everything, education, welfare, your needs, your wants, maybe even your demands, okay? So, bila kita faham oh, mak bapak aku kena, yalah, dia kena attend to all of these needs for me. Jadi, bila kita nak communicate pun, kita tak adalah nak communicate marah-marah dengan orang, because bear in mind, these are the things that, you know, is under their belt, under their responsibility. Have a thought on their responsibility, then, of course, your communication techniques will be different. Okay. Teachers, what are their responsibility? They are there to educate you with the knowledge so that you can succeed in your academic school years. So cikgu ni basically ajar kita, lepas tu nak kita pass kita punya exam so that we can propel forward in kita punya educational years. Alright, so tanggungjawab orang lain. Tanggungjawab orang basically their responsibilities not so much about, you know, wanting to look into your demands. Okay, definitely they are not look into your demands. I mean, how many of us pergi kat cikgu nak I want PS4 that your teacher buy for you, no, right? Okay, so these are certain things that, you know, your teacher will not cater, but they cater more onto the academic side. Alright, so when you need to communicate with them, communicate by reflecting, okay, these are their responsibility. When I communicate, am I allowing them to explain, all right, what their responsibility has on me? Something like that. Okay. Then of course, kita ada your mentors, right? Your mentors in your currently, some of you are attached to our mentors. Okay, mentors have one of the best responsibility that you can really connect. They are, for me, the easiest people for you to build the bridge in order to build a very effective communication path. Okay, because mentor, they make sure that you always have a listening ear. They can also be your voice if you cannot actually, you know, talk for yourself or represent yourself. And most of the time, they also will lead you to make sure that you stay out of trouble and finish your school years happily. Happily, yeah. A lot of times, I saw some of your worries just now on the thing that you all face, and you all feel left out. And these are some sources of unhappiness that also is the result of you having ineffective communication with your friends. So your mentor can help to patch things up, can help to build that bridge. Okay, then of course the counselor, they are trained to listen to your inner feelings. Okay, they work with you to think of alternative methods of coping with your problems. Okay, they work with you to think of alternative, but they don't make decisions for you. You make the decisions, they will follow through with your decision. They will walk with you with your decision. These individuals are trained to actually, you know, help you in this in times of crisis. So of course, because of that, you also don't need to know, okay? Because their responsibility is like that. the way we communicate also have to be different. Okay, usually I have not come across students yang marah-marah, tengking-tengking counselor lah. So far, alhamdulillah, there's no cases like that. Okay, teachers terlampau banyak. Okay, parents just as much. Okay, so then the last one that most of you have are friends. Friends are very subjective. Okay, because true friends listen to your worries, listen to your pain. Okay, and then they help, they sit down with you and listen to your grief. Those are those. Okay, when it comes to communication, it's actually a good time for you to sift through your friends. Mana kawan-kawan ketawa-ketawa, kawan-kawan happy-happy, dan mana satu kawan-kawan yang kita rasa macam, okay, they are there when I am really in need of help. Effective communication allows you to sift through your friends. Mana-mana kawan-kawan ketawa tu, okay lah, just let them be kawan-kawan ketawa lah. Kalau they irritate you, they annoy you in the future, okay, just ignore them because you already label them inside your mindset. Dia orang cuma kawan-kawan ketawa je. Kalau aku susah ke apa, I don't really rely on them. Okay? So, sekarang, now that you know the responsibility that, you know, each and every one of your pillar of support have. Okay, let's look at certain ways where you can communicate. Like, let's say, when communicating with your parents, okay, like I mentioned before just now, student face the 51-49 factor. Okay, means whatever you argue, the more you argue, the more you raise your voice, you can never win because, you know, your trust level towards adults trust level towards you is until 49%. You can never win. All right, and you get very frustrated, agitated, you know, then you get very angst, aggressive. So these are telltale signs that, you know, you are not having a very effective communication with your other party. Kita bukan nak salahkan siapa-siapa, okay? Kita tak salahkan, oh, your parents should be like that, or you should be like that, okay? Tapi basically both are also in the wrong lah, okay? So students can try, okay, maybe you can try effective communication towards your parents. You can try to convince your parents by showing actions, okay, that path towards positivity. Okay, remember when we talk about spending quality time with family, we really mean it, quality time with family. Kadang-kadang kalau balik sekolah, tiba-tiba masuk bilik, lepas tu makan pun tak keluar ni. Okay, itu by itself already shows ineffective communication. So, by try to show actions that can convince your parents that, okay, you are worthy of my attention, I will listen to you because, let's say, one of the actions that kita boleh buat is household chores. Okay, household chores, sapu-sapu, cuci pinggan mangkuk. Make yourself useful. These actions kalau diorang nampak, selalu nampak, okay, and kalau dibuat dengan penuh keikhlasan, insyaAllah, your parents will mellow down, and when they are in a relaxed position, then you can try to slow talk to them, talk about areas that you always find it difficult to talk about, and then inshallah they will listen. Okay. The problem with a lot of communication is, first of all, they ask at the wrong timing. Secondly, they don't spend quality time together all the time. Okay. And thirdly, they always ask the question bila parents tengah bengang dengan dia. I mean, that's telltale signs of bad communication. So these are one area that you can try to do. Okay. Then when you are able to convince them, okay, it is much easier for you to strive towards your goals and your interests because we can talk through. Let's say macam you want to express your love for a certain passion, your love for a certain interest. You explain to your parents why is it so important to you. During the motions where they are relaxed, it's easier to send the message across. It's easier for them to be in an agreeable state with you. Okay, then those are for parents. Actually, for me, I feel that parents are much more easier because parents, no matter what, their affection towards you, perasaan sayang tu tetap ada. Cikgu ni doubtful lah. Sayang tu memang ada. I mean, they can say, oh, teacher love you, tapi how to which extent do they love you? And takkan dia love macam anak sendiri kan? So basically, right, I think affection wise, okay, that's why sometimes when meet the parent session kan, kalau cikgu kadang-kadang nak complain tentang anak-anak dia, their parents might be the one actually standing up for you. Okay, alright, I've seen this a lot. Ada sampai cikgu dia pun tercungap-cungap. So because maybe all this while the teachers are not communicating properly with the students, that's why the teachers only see the negative side. And whereas the parents will be there to back you up. Okay, sekiranya ada the misunderstanding between the two parties. Okay, so Now we talk about your engagement with teachers. Okay, your engagement with teachers. All right, students, you should not at any point, okay, show tantrum, aggression. All right, all this attitude, because by showing this type of attitude, it makes it easier for teachers to judge that you are a troublemaker, that you are problematic. And you do not want to be judged like that at a very early stage in your communication, in your argument, or in your defense. Okay, because easy, especially kalau discipline master nampak tiba-tiba kau meradang, attitude. Last time my time was like that. Everything kalau kita meradang ni attitude. Now at least they said, oh, this one ADHD. They actually now can box you into different type of disorder. Okay, I do not know whether it's a good or a bad thing, tapi my time is apa-apa semua detention. Habis dalam detention become pressure cooker, no? Because every troublemaker is inside the detention room. Anytime detention room tu just explode, yalah, pandai-pandai lah cikgu-cikgu kau tu attend to your tu. Okay, so do not show any aggression. That's the first thing, alright, that I need you all to do. I need you all to remember when you all are, communicating with your teachers. You should be calm down, slow talk with your teacher. Okay, slow talk. A good teacher listens to your worries, listen to your queries, listen to your arguments. Okay, if they don't, okay, because I do not want to portray that, okay, we are living in a very wonderful world everywhere, okay, because I've seen teachers who handle situation very poorly, okay, and I do not want to just implicate on it's always the student's fault. Sometimes it's also the teacher's fault. Budak tu dah berapi, cikgu tu lagi berapi, and then the louder get louder, loudest, it doesn't solve anything. And when that thing happens, of course, the 51-49 factor that we talk about being put into place, you are always on the losing side. And when you are always on the losing side, you feel very, agitated. So, slow talk to your teacher. If they don't listen to you, then you should consult your other pillars of support, which is your parents, your mentor, your counselor, to talk, to support you on your behalf, to talk on your behalf. Okay, that's why you have other pillars of support, right? Okay, but don't consult your friends, please. Pasal consult your friends, hell break loose lah sometimes. Kali kawan-kawan kau pun jenis macam meradang-meradang, wah, then you're going to be, putting yourself in deeper trouble. Okay, so that's why we always tell students to have as many pillars of support as possible, because this pillar of support can build the bridge between communication between you and the other party that you are having some sort of misunderstanding. All right. Then when an adult figure helps you to intervene on your behalf, you are actually combining powers. You are actually combining your communication powers with them to find a solution to this particular problem. Kan? Kalau kita tengok cerita-cerita superhero semua, kadang-kadang dorang combine power semua kan. Okay lah. If you and your other pillar of support work together, you combine power, you get stronger. And then your teachers also will mellow down. InsyaAllah lah, mellow down. Okay? Right. So, this is also similar if you are sharing or expressing your feelings and problems to them. Okay? You are actually macam kadang-kadang counselor, kadang-kadang kita, we communicate, we tell them about our worries, our apa-apa. Okay? You are actually, both of you are actually communicating. Alright, and then actually both of you are transferring your energy together. That is part of effective communication. Okay, so basically you are both in an agreeable position. Right, you are not in any type of negative punya circumstances or anything. Alright, another effective way to get the attention of parents and teachers is, okay, this is most important, by seeking forgiveness when you have done wrong. Okay. I always believe in this. It is easier to seek forgiveness than to seek for permission. Okay? If you have done wrong, you actually go up to your teacher and then say to your teacher, sorry teacher, okay? The likelihood of your teacher nak marah kau lagi-lagi will not be there. They will mellow down. Kalau dia marah kau, means they are not being an effective communicator. Means they are not good in their communication. They are not good in using their powers. Okay? Likewise for your parents. Takkan kita cuma minta maaf with your parents time hari raya je. Of course, sometimes when we do something wrong, alright, we seek forgiveness. I tell you, your parents will, hati sayu babe. Anak sendiri datang to just, minta maaf and everything. It really, kind of like slow the momentum, and then they are more receptive and more open right now to listen to whatever you have to say. Seeking forgiveness, alright. Never underestimate the power of forgiveness. It's easier to seek forgiveness than to seek permission. Permission kadang-kadang kau tak dapat. teacher, can I borrow the ball? I want to play soccer. Cannot, go study. That's permission, you know. Tapi sekiranya kalau kita main ambil bola je, kita main tenang-tenang, kali cikgu dapat tangkap kita pergi kat cikgu. Sorry, chances your teacher will just, okay lah, let it slide, okay. And that is effective communication. Okay, I'm giving you a tips Tapi with that being said, jangan commit a problem lepas tu do this type of things What I'm trying to say is, when you are wrong, you need to admit that you are wrong. Often kadang-kadang adult ni ada ego tau. Diorang tak boleh nampak bersalah depan anak-anak murid, especially teachers. Okay, so we do not want to look like, apa ni kita buat salah, tak boleh. Jadi kita terlalu nak tegakkan benda yang tak betul. Okay, likewise for students. Okay, so we do not want to have that argument between two parties trying to fight over something that is both of them are wrong tapi trying to make it right. Okay, two wrongs doesn't make it right. Okay, so then of course another thing is kata macam, why does parents or teachers don't understand my interest or my passion? Okay, interest and passion, okay, is also an action punya tu. To convince them, you need to prove a certain action. Let's say if you want to play football because that is your passion, okay, in order to convince them, you have to show them that you are representing the school. Start winning medals after medals, okay, start winning medals, okay, all these medals you start winning, okay, best of all, win the cup, okay, maybe not the World Cup lah, win a cup, okay. These are telltale signs that you are taking things seriously, okay, all right, win the cup, and then your parents would also be convinced that, okay, my son is really serious in this interest. Likewise, another thing yang kadang-kadang a bit controversial yang parents usually tak nak get involved, tak nak support is martial arts. Sometimes they said, if my son practice martial art, they will fight with everybody. Okay? So how do you convince your parents and your teachers that you will not be a dangerous menace to society if you practice martial arts? You go through actual competition. Masuk CC, belajar martial art betul-betul. Go through actual competition. Menang. Okay lah, menang heavyweight champion ke apa. Menang heavyweight champion. Okay. Show them that you are serious. Okay. Jangan macam angan-angan kosong. Jangan belajar sikit, lepas tu gaduh dengan kawan-kawan yang kental-kental, lepas tu tunjukkan kuat, aku kalahkan dia. That is not the right way to communicate. By doing that, you get yourself into trouble, alright? Kalau menang competition, at least, alright, represent Singapore, alhamdulillah, you know? So that is one way for you to pursue your interest, at the same time, convince your parents and your teachers, and they are more than happy to support your interest as well as your passion. Okay, so you have to show them that you are serious in whatever that you want to do, whatever that you want to pursue. Okay. With that being said, I wish to address that if you have many pillars of support, it is actually very advantageous in your development as a youth. Okay. So kalau kita ada, okay, selain daripada mak bapak, kita ada cikgu, kita ada mentor, kita ada counselor. Ini kira 4 ni kira dah mantap lah. Okay, we don't put friends at first because as I mentioned, friends can be subjective. Okay, but I've met with some students yang ada mak angkat, bapa angkat, abang angkat, kakak angkat, semua yang terangkat angkat lah. Okay, alright, so diorang pun kena macam okay. Then of course I will be questioning macam okay, selalunya okay, the girls usually have a much more better role models bila when it comes to mak angkat because the mak angkat usually open her house to all these girls go to her house after school, finish their homework, you know, and then this, you know, mak angkat diorang actually listens to them. That is a healthy punya tu. Tapi kalau bapa angkat ajar kau benda tak betul, apa tu, kasih kau sampurna lah, kasih kau rokok yang wak-wak semua, that one is really terrible. Okay, so effective communication, just like how you gauge your friends, you can also sift through which particular pillar of support is worthy of you being, is worthy of you hanging around them. Okay, so we mentioned that a good pillar of support, they are good listening ears, they can be your voice, they are your best buddies, which is why mentoring, I'm a huge believer of mentoring. I've been mentoring ever since Mendaki started the mentoring program, I think maybe 15 years ago, right? And okay, it has been a very successful movement because cikgu-cikgu kadang-kadang rasa macam, budak-budak ni dengar tau cakap dengan korang as mentors. Tapi dengan cikgu-cikgu tak dengar. Because remember, our priorities are different. And maybe as a mentor, our priorities fits your needs better than cikgu-cikgu punya priorities. So that is one thing that you can see. See the check and balance, okay? Tapi, no matter what, at the end of the day, alright, we as mentors, we also want you to have effective communication with everyone, alright? Your friends, your other pillar of supports. We do not want you to have any problems with your parents or your other teachers and stuff like that. Okay, I'm just saying that mentors usually, when we pick mentors, because we pick them in a way that, okay, they are not as far-fetched as you. Macam diorang punya umur pun kalau macam maybe 5 years older than you. Jadi diorang punya generation and your generation bila masuk secondary school tak jauh tau. So chances whatever lingo that you talk about, diorang akan faham. So it's easier for you to relate. When it's easy for you to relate, it's much easier for you to build an effective communication. Okay, so we talk about a mentor. Kalau certain problems, mentor tak boleh bantu. Okay, a mentor can together with you, alright, consult your school counselor. Hari ni, I can say that it's very good because almost every school sekarang ada 1 or 2 school counselors. Last time during my time, okay, our teachers are the school counselor. So you just imagine cikgu-cikgu yang marah kita pasal homework tak buat tu, dia orang juga yang counsel kita. Jadi kita, apa sih, tak masuk akal. Just now you scold me, now you want to be nice to me. So they are trying to play 2 hats at the same time, it doesn't work. Tapi sekarang, if you meet your teacher, you are so angry with your teacher, they bring you to your school counselor. Somehow kat school, when you meet the school counselor, you will be much more tame, you will be much more relaxed because you know that the school counselor is really, trying to accommodate your other needs. Okay, so again, remember their priorities and then remember how you communicate based on their own priorities. Okay, so we mentioned how what's the role of a counselor, and they are focused more on your feelings. All right, they analyze various social problems that youth are facing. All right, finding alternative ways to overcome certain problems, and they actually do it with you. Okay, they give you they list down all the alternative. You choose which one you want to pursue. They will go through the walk with you. Okay, I'm not a Liverpool fan, tapi kadang-kadang gue cakap lah, you never walk alone lah, because counselor is always there to help you. Alright, in order for you to chart the right path, and they are always very supportive of whatever path that you take. Okay, so we mentioned just now pillar of support, other pillar of support such as relative. Kadang-kadang pakcik-pakcik, makcik-makcik. Kita kadang-kadang ada those pakcik-pakcik yang umur dia tak berapa jauh dengan kita, maybe 10 years older than us. So this pakcik are much more paksu lah, selalunya paksu. Saya banyak kali saya bilang paksu lah, saya apa-apa saya cakap paksu. Pasal pakcik bongsu ni kira yang paling cool lah. Okay, so I also happen to be a paksu. Jadi I also feel like okay lah, maybe memang lah paksu ni memang yang paling senang untuk dorang relate. So dorang relate lah, anything to do kadang-kadang tak boleh tu. Jadi paksu ni will then be the bridge to communicate to the parents. Okay, then from there, okay, the parents also have to be receptive. When people have to help you to build the bridge, both parties have to be receptive to whatever comments or whatever things that you have to, that each party have to say to one another. Okay, one of my techniques that I teach parents when it comes to handling students, when it comes to handling their child, is to practice the 5:1 strategy. 5 meaning 5:1 meaning 5 compliment to 1 critic. It also can be, you can also use it on your friends. Maybe dengan your friend cakap, engkau ni Hilman, okay, engkau ni handsome, power, cakap, bagus. Tapi satu je lah man. Okay, you see, when you talk like that, they are more than happy to listen to that one critic. Daripada kalau macam, engkau ni macam apa, macam siap gini. Wah lama, kalau si Hilman tu tak swing kat engkau tu, kira dah nasib kau dah baik lah. Those type of things. So, these are one way to, even when we are playing sports, or playing soccer, we are required to actually communicate. Kenapa kadang-kadang budak-budak Melayu bila main bola, walaupun team tu kuat tapi sekarang rasa susah nak menang. Sebab you don't motivate one another. When I was in Australia, I play for my uni. I make a mistake. My kawan-kawan orang putih semua, they said, it's okay. Alright, good job mate. Aku buat mistake dia kata good job. So I feel motivated to impress them, to work harder. Kalau when I used to be a teacher in charge for soccer. Alamak, when I saw some of my students, how they communicate, terbuat salah je, dia kena maki there and there. Lepas tu macam, kau ambil throw-in macam nyonya lagi ni. You feel so bad already making that mistake. They make you even, they make you even worse, feel even worse. So sometimes that is also part of communication, which always break down in a sports. Okay, so kita jangan ingat macam, okay, the problem is in the other party. Kadang-kadang we are given, God give us this tool to communicate. Tapi kita yang either wrongly use it, or we often misuse ataupun misunderstood. And then kita expect things to happen to kita punya things to happen to our advantage, when actually the fact is we started on the wrong platform when it comes to communication. So, as mentioned, understand your individual pillar of support, understand your their individual responsibilities. Other pillar of support that I've seen before are like tuition teacher. Okay, tuition teacher pun can be sometimes they also try to play multiple role. They are your tuition teacher, at the same time pun they try to be your friend. They are not as staunch as your teachers lah. So they orang are more relaxed. Okay, tuition teacher, youth worker, of course youth worker, they are trained to do this job. Okay, sometimes another thing that I notice is when they have relatives who are police officers, this one also becomes one very, very good role model, or one very, very good pillar of support. This type of relative usually really, really help them to really stay out of trouble. And I talk about big trouble, trouble with the law. Okay, so they are very cautious lah. Apa-apa je nanti macam, bang, saya nanti nak pergi chalet dengan kawan-kawan. Kau pergi chalet make sure jangan minum Kau minum, kau tengok kau jaga. They are very, okay, they make their point very clear. Tetapi, you listen to them because you know that they really can really protect you and make sure you stay out of trouble. So these are also pillar of support. Maybe the orang punya cara communication might be very blatant, tapi you are able to accept it because you understand their responsibility, you understand their priorities. Their priorities is to make sure you stay out of this type of troubles. That's why they have to be very clear. Okay? When you are unclear about the wrong responsibility, that's where a lot of this, mishap or miscom starts happening in your communication. So, with that being said, to end this whole thing, okay, not say to end, okay, to sum up, okay, you have to understand that at the end of the day, while you are still a student in high school, in secondary school, education is still important. So try to go as far as possible in terms of your studies. Okay, pick the courses that you like, not the courses that your parents like. Pick the courses that you like. If your parents ask you to do certain things that you don't like, this time again, convince them. Okay, practice this effective communication. Convince them why you like this course and why I don't like the course that you are selecting, because I will struggle. I will spend my entire poly or uni life struggling, suffering. Convince your parent on what you want to do at a course. Show them your passion and your flair, like what I mentioned just now. Okay, show them that passion. The power of communication need to be agreeable with both parties in order for it to be effective. Okay, once there's a miscom, argument, that's where it escalates to become something far worse. Therefore, your parents, teachers, and all the other pillar of supports that you have need to understand that today's world is full of unbelievable opportunities. Why I say unbelievable opportunities is because, okay, dulu mak bapak kita semua cakap, belajar jadi doktor, jadi lawyer lah, dari cikgu, all the typical profession. Tapi hari ni pernah tak kita tengok YouTube, sekali tiba-tiba je tengah tengok YouTube short-short, kali tiba-tiba, hi, I'm here, I make e-commerce, dropshipping. These things are real. These can be real source of living. Okay, if you really learn the trades, learn the business, learn the trades, okay, you can actually use this as a fundamental to earn enough. Okay, you don't have to have a real profession. You can use this as your main source of income to survive in today's challenging world. So it's not like in the past kan, macam kita nak kena ada kerja-kerja yang betul-betul nampak very legit, the term a lawyer, doctor, magistrate ni semua selalu keluar lah. So today doing other things also, okay, you can create content creation on YouTube. Okay, content creation on YouTube, right? You can Do what? TikTok. Okay, you can do TikTok. Apa lagi? Instagram. Okay, apa lagi? Apa ni? Facebook. Alright. All this can help you generate income in the future. Okay. If you want to be a content creator, study filming. Okay, saya bukan promote diri saya tapi study filming because filming really test your creativity level. Alright, to become a director, you need to understand. Okay, it's also part of communication. Today when people talk about mass communication, people always talk mass communication maksudnya broadcasting, journalism, TV, radio production. That is broadcasting. That is communication. Tapi the gist of communication is this. This communication is the root to it. Kalau kita tak boleh buat this simple thing, we do not know how to connect with the outside world, whatever you learn, your film ke, your radio production ke, apa-apa journalism, can just be a total failure because you fail to do the fundamental, which is effective communication. Okay, my experience as a creative producer, as a director, okay, I learned how to communicate with other people, the actors, the producers, every people that is important in my work life. I have to understand their responsibility, and that's how I communicate effectively with them. Okay, so with that being said, boys and girls, all right, guys, today there's full of opportunities out there when it comes to this thing. All right, so please learn the art of communication. All right, and inshallah everything will be fine. Kalau if you cannot communicate effectively, find a third party, your other pillar of support. Okay, right, so I managed to wrap it up. Okay, maybe I go a bit too off, tapi if there's any questions that you guys wanna bring up, okay, maybe I mean you can pop out the question right now if there is.
All right. Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Hilman. Yes, and I think you guys have been actively uploading your questions onto this slide as well. So if you guys want to upload, if you guys want to ask verbally, okay, you may do so. Okay. Yeah. So some of the questions that I'll be flashing on the screen. Okay, these are some coming from you guys. Okay. I think I think a few already is relating to family communication. Okay, and I think number one is that sometimes I try already, but it doesn't seem to work. I help at home, things like that. But when I ask for something, they don't listen. And then again, something to do with family. How should I show my parents I'm not interested in what they expect from me? I think all of this can relate to this. No, despite all that, no, of course, no, any normal person will get frustrated. So how do we not get emotional or not get frustrated when communicating with them or in such situations? Yep.
Okay, when reading some of the questions, right, is kind of like interrelated. Okay, remember when some of you said you don't trust your parents and your teachers. Okay, I understand that. Okay, all right. So remember when I told you about other pillars of support. Okay, those are the other pillars of support that you can rely on as your resource, as your other platforms to communication. Okay, you see, we are social creatures. Human being, we are social creatures. We cannot live alone. Tak ada siapa-siapa boleh hidup sendiri. Aku tak campur orang. Aku buat kerja aku sendiri. Kerja kau sendiri. Kau kerja kat mana? Aku kerja kat company tu. Kat company tu kau kerja dengan orang, kau kerja dengan robot. Dengan orang itu kira kerja lah tu dengan. So you need people. Alright. Okay, even sampai kita mati pun orang juga yang kena uruskan mayat kita. Jadi alright, we as social creatures, we really need to seek help. We really need to get assistance from orang-orang yang bertauliah, orang-orang yang bertanggungjawab. So I notice usually macam tadi the 5 pillars that we mentioned, right? The parent, teachers, mentor, counselor, and friends. Okay, usually the first two always have the highest percentage of problems. Teachers and parents. These two always have high. So when there seems to be no way of communicating with these two, you have to deploy macam polis tau. Okay, ini tak ada dua lah, tak ada lah. Deploy the third one, which is the mentor. Okay, right, mentor come to the rescue. Alright. Kalau mentor pun tak boleh, deploy the next one, counselor. Okay. Kalau semua tak boleh, MP lah. Okay, I mean there are always other alternative. Okay, but usually mentor for me at this stage, okay, kalau parents dengan teachers betul-betul dah tak ada harapan lah. Okay, I'm saying this because this actually happens in real life. There are students who really find it very difficult to to talk to parents, to talk to. Jadi adanya mentor is a leading platform. Kadang-kadang nak berbual dengan counselor, you feel vulnerable because you are scared counselor will judge you for whatever thing that you are. Tapi bear in mind one thing, kita as counselors, we are trained not to judge people. We are trained to accept you for who and what you are. Okay, who you are lah, not what you are lah, who you are. Okay, so if you say that currently you are having this problem, kita kalau katakan I'm having this relationship problem, my girlfriend she don't want to see me again, I will not have this thinking macam, alamak, relax amat, apa sih girlfriend gini. I will not have that presumptuous thought because I am trained to think, to take you as a human being. Okay, now you are having this problem. Let's work on ways, on alternatives to overcome this problem, to cope with this problem. That is how we are trained. So bear in mind macam mana doktor pun sama kan. Doktor bila kita kata kita ada masalah health kan, dia orang pun takkan ada orang nak cakap, asal kau ada demam, asal semalam kau tak demam, sekarang kau demam. Bukannya saya panggil tu demam datang kan. Kadang-kadang kita macam gitu. So doctors, counselors, they are also professionals. They are trained to actually help you, giving you assistance to this type of things. So basically, right, kalau betul-betul teachers and parents betul-betul you cannot communicate, right, deploy your other resources. Kalau ada lebih daripada 5 lagi bagus. Ada macam pakcik ke, godmother, godfather, someone that your parents trust lah. Okay, usually mentor and counselor your parents trust. Kalau takut-takutnya godfather, godbrother ni semua kadang-kadang parent tak trust pun, nanti lagi besar dia punya problem. So anything related to a professional, usually they trust. Therapist ke. Tapi for a start use your mentor lah. InsyaAllah they are able to help. Okay, because just now I saw all the questions, they are kind of like interrelated. Kalau tak boleh get along dengan ini macam mana? Tak boleh get along dengan ini macam mana? Kalau tak trust dia orang macam mana? There must be someone in your social circle that you trust. Okay, alright. Kalau your friends, after sieving through this thing, then you find that your friend is the one that you can trust. Okay, then you want to ask for assistance from your friend, go ahead. Tapi kalau katakan your friend cannot be of much help, janganlah kutuk dia, kritik dia ke apa. Sama-sama cari jalan penyelesaian. Remember, a friend in need is a friend indeed. Jadi kalau kita ada masalah, sama-sama kita pikul tu masalah. Bukan, tu masalah kau, bukan masalah aku. Kalau macam gitu, my kawan, buang sudah jauh-jauh. Okay? So, basically, just now when I saw, okay, macam, okay, okay, this is new set. Okay, let me have some time reading, apa tu, skimming through it first. Sekejap saya nampak gambar, I see myself on the side yang blocking the question. Okay, right. Okay.
So you guys can continue uploading as well. Okay, you guys can continue uploading as well, or you guys can just verbalize your questions. Okay.
Yang ini bukan question. Yang the first one is more of a, okay. Thank you to the anonymous. The first one is more of a apa tu, jalan penyelesaian, which is good, right? Okay, I like it when you guys are also thinking of alternative ways, alright? Sometimes I try already, but it doesn't seem to work. I help out at home, I listen to them, but asking me, they don't listen. What should I do? Okay, the same thing. Okay, you need to resort to your other pillars of support. Okay, sebab sometimes memang selalunya kadang-kadang memang macam gitu, buntu. Ini kita cakap tentang parents sendiri. Some of my students, diorang ada mak bapak tiri tau. Lagi susah nak communicate. Their challenge is even much more great. Is much more challenging. To a certain point, sometimes I feel like, bila ada mak bapak tiri, then ada siblings, half sibling, memang complicated lah. Kadang-kadang saya nak buat diorang punya genogram pun, saya pun pening. Tapi the thing is, right, there must be, okay, an outlet to this. That's why when we talk about counseling, when we talk about finding alternative, we also talk about vintage point, an outlet so that you can actually express your feelings. You can actually express your inner itu. Kalau macam parents dah tak boleh dengar kan, don't bother to express anything, tapi you need to consult people yang bertauliah untuk bantu. Sometimes even ustaz, a lot of times I can tell you, ustaz ni dia have given a better macam power, orang tu lagi bagus. Ustaz datang rumah, mak bapak semua dengar sih. Seriously speaking, sometimes I feel it that way lah. Macam my power sometimes macam nak communicate macam gitu lah. Kali ustaz datang dengan sarban dengan tu, buka lah sikit hadis-hadis ke tu, terus apa terus puru lah. Sometimes like that, okay? So kalau perlu, okay. Tapi with that being said, okay, make sure you have them in your pillar of support lah. Jangan main pergi kat masjid mana ke, terus hijack satu ustaz, tolong saya gini. Itu susah juga. Nanti ustaz pun macam, apa kena mana dengan saya pula, saya kena pergi pula. Jadi macam kita pun tak nak put them in a lot of surprise. We need to know the backstory. Okay, when it comes to helping, we need to know the actual story, the backstory macam itu. Baru kita boleh build the bridge. Tak ada ujung pangkal, tak ada apa lah. Susah nak build the bridge. So, yalah, in order to have everyone on the same platform, insyaAllah kita boleh bantu to work things out together. Seriously, dalam pepatah Melayu mengatakan air yang dingin juga boleh memadamkan api. Okay, so we resort to that method. Okay, let's look at the following questions.
Alright. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry.
Just about okay, there's a few more coming in. So
Okay.
how better is it having
stranger? Okay, how better is it having a stranger fresh impressions as a mentor as compared to a relative E? Because mentor more relatable equals guide help us better. Ini question ke? Ini question ke atau yeah.
I think
How better is having a stranger as a mentor as compared to a relative? You mean how is it mana lagi bagus, having a mentor that is complete stranger or having a mentor that is also your relative? Okay, if you want me to say better, the better one is of course the people that you know since for the longest of time lah. Tapi usually kalau your relative, you don't consider them mentor lah. You consider them as relative, and that is the connection that actually builds you, that actually bonds the two of you. Takkanlah kita main pergi kat pakcik kita, pakcik, daripada hari ni pakcik cari saya punya mentor. Pakcik tu macam, mentor tu apa? Cakap, jadi, you know what I mean? Okay, mentors, for me, in general, we say that mentors are people that you do not know, tapi people who are willing to dedicate their time for you. That is for me mentor. People that you do not know. Counselor pun macam itu juga. Counselor is lagi, they dedicate their life to help others correct their own lives, you know. So basically, yalah. Jadi kalau macam if you have a relative that you want to relate him as mentor, jadi jadikan dia relative je lah. I mean, jangan tukar-tukarkan dia punya title. Nanti awak semua pening juga. Ni saya punya pakcik. Salah, saya punya mentor. Pakcik. Nanti kita pula jadi okay, try to, you know, kalau betul-betul diorang dah ada tali persaudaraan, let it be, you can look to them as a role model. Okay, tapi dalam hati lah cakap, okay, pakcik, Pak Su aku ni, aku punya role model dalam hati. Don't say to them personally lah, pakcik saya punya role model. Kembang pakcik awak tu nanti. Jadi apa tu, certain things, I think to be clear, mentors are people that is completely stranger, but they are trained and they dedicate their time, alright, to help others. So that is mentor. Okay. So kalau you want to ask me to compare which one better, relative or mentor, okay lah, of course I say relative because you know them since young. I mean since you born. Kalau mentor kan, you still need time to build the rapport. Kalau dalam psychology they call it the therapeutic alliance, you know, the therapeutic alliance between you and your mentor, you know. Tapi usually it's much easier. It can nak build the connection with your mentor is very fast. Tapi nak build the connection with your teachers, sometimes they say old habit die hard. Even old wound pun kadang-kadang pun tak boleh itulah. Kalau sekali dia orang dah pernah marah kita rabak-rabak sampai bila-bila pun kadang-kadang susah. Kalau macam some of the student yang pernah kena rotan dengan discipline master kan, no matter how girik dia orang discipline master is with them after that, tetap rasanya macam dia itu sakit yang kat punggung tu masih terasa lagi tu. You know, those type of thing. I experienced it myself when I was in secondary school. No matter how girik you try to be with me, kita dalam hati macam, parut tu tak boleh hilang lah. Seriously speaking sakit dalam hati tu Yalah, macam itulah. So, yalah, for me, it's okay to have both of them as your pillar of support, your uncle and your mentor as a pillar of support. The more pillar of support you have is huge advantage for you. It helps you in your youth development. Yep.
All right. Hi everyone. Sorry, we have exceeded time a bit. Okay. But I think if you guys don't mind, okay, we'll stretch no longer than 9:15, inshallah. I think there's this one question that is very important to address because I think really in context to the current times that you're facing. So in between, if you guys have to leave, just let me know first, okay? Because there's a short lucky draw at the end of the session. Okay, so Hilman, I think just to address one last question, and I'm sorry if we did not manage to address some of your other questions. If you guys have any questions afterwards for Hilman, feel free to share it with Abang so that Abang can relate to Mr. Hilman, okay? So this question, I think, is pertaining to being a friend, to have someone who's going through depression and serious stress. Okay, a very relevant issue for now. All right, and how then, I think, as a friend also, if you're not able to help, like you mentioned, how do we connect them to the different pillars of support that's available out there? Yep.
Okay, is it possible for me as a friend to help? Yeah, totally possible. Okay, the fact that if your friend actually trusts you to help them with their personal problems, it means that you are at a certain pedestal in your friend's life. For all you know, you are actually one of his or her pillar of support. Okay, so be a true friend by channeling him or her to the parties that are responsible, that are able to cater, that are able to assist them in whatever problems they are. Okay, tak ada masalah yang tak ada jalan penyelesaian. Apa tu, uh, especially kita orang Islam kan, every answer to kita punya worries, every answer to our problems can actually be found in the Quran. Kalau kita betul-betul research Quran, semuanya berada dalam tu. Okay, tapi in terms of this scenario currently, okay, your friend can first ask you lah, okay, who are the people that you trust other than me? Okay, I'm here to help. You must make it very clear, I'm here to help. Okay, I'm here to help. Tapi you also need to because korang semua sebaya tu, and your life experience masih lagi pretty much similar. Takut nanti when their problem overwhelm you, nanti you pula ada problem. Jadi ada satu problem jadi dua orang ada problem. Jadi just sekarang ni kan, you need to ask that person who are their pillar of support, who they trust other than them. Kalau dia kata aku cuma trust kau je, maksudnya kau lah kawan paling baik dalam dunia. Okay, that's one thing. Tapi okay, you have to channel him or her to the school counselor. Because school counselor, alright, they will address any problems faced by students, whether or not the students is inside dorang punya list of students yang perlu attention and stuff like that. Okay, actually in some school school counselor very good tau. Walk in, ketuk, I got a problem, she listen to you, and she got time, she just listen to you. Alright, okay. Of course, some schools ada appointment lah, tapi some schools that I see is walk in. I for once when I was a teacher, okay, I try to portray that I'm not the typical teacher lah. I tak suka marah-marah, unless budak-budak tu nakal sangat baru I marah-marah lah. Okay, maybe when I first started teaching, I was more of marah-marah, dan lepas tu bila dah baik sakit ni semua, I become very relaxed. I was voted 3 times the coolest teacher in school every Teachers Day. Okay, so okay, that was my story ya. Jadi kalau sekiranya okay, if your friend said, okay, jumpa Mr. Hilman lah. Okay, Mr. Hilman mungkin can help you out. Okay, kalau your friend agree, let that be the first path towards the right direction. The first step towards the right direction, which is seeking help. In seeking help kan, kadang-kadang a person needs to bersuara lah in order to need help, because I as a person, I cannot read your mind, right? It's a power that I wish I have lah. When they ask me, Majula asked me what power I want to have, I said I want to become Professor X. I want to read people's mind. I can tell them, okay, what they are going through. Tapi kita tak ada that power. Jadi sometimes if let's say you can give them alternative, you can be like the so-called the friend yang list down the alternative. Okay, kau boleh jumpa dengan ini kau trust tak? Kau jumpa dengan ini kau trust tak? Are you willing to discuss this matter with our school counselor? Alright, kalau dia kata okay, right, go for it. That the okay sign is a good way to start taking the first step towards the right direction. Kalau macam mana pun dia orang katakan dia tak ada siapa-siapa kan, then you as a friend, you need to be frank. Kau jangan jadi hero kampung. Aku boleh settlekan masalah kau. Okay, no worry, kau tengok siapa. Jangan macam itu. You try to say, okay, kalau kita sama-sama pergi jumpa cikgu ni, atau kita sama-sama tu, kau okay tak? You start a thing. start, give the, make sure that your friend know that you are willing to go through the walk, that difficult walk with them. That is the attribute of a good friend. Okay. Remember when I told you about your friends will also be sifting through mana kawan yang bagus, mana tak kawan bagus. By doing this, I think among all your friends, mungkin they put you as kau lah kawan aku dunia akhirat, because you really help them when comes to the problem. Kadang-kadang, yalah, these are the first step towards the right direction. Macam mana pun, you still need to consult help. You cannot deal the problem alone. Okay, so that's the understanding that I need you all to understand. Apa tu, you still need adult figures to help you, assist you with your problems. Okay, sometimes kalau tak ada pun kan, think it as there are people who are trained to help in these areas of studies, in these areas of problems that you are facing. So go to them, and maybe who knows, in the future you have an additional pillar of support. Yep.
Yeah, Hilman. Oh, thank you so much. I think some of the mentees feedback here on the chat. About this particular person not being receptive to wanting help. Like for example, Hanisa, being shut out, things like that, and Saliha, not being truthful with sharing his or her problem, not wishing to reveal themselves even. So, us, as a friend, we can't help them directly. How do we get assistance externally to to reach out to our friend here to get him to be assisted in any way that he can or she can.
Okay, you mean the friend doesn't allow you, okay, let's say I'm the friend, doesn't allow me to relate. Okay, then you as a friend, okay, jangan, do not, okay, you still need to convince him or her, alright, in seeking help. You still need to convince, okay, find ways. Then kalau katakan kan dia masih tak, katakan macam dia masih not receptive like you mentioned, okay, then you as a friend, okay, pergi jumpa your school counselor, tapi okay, jangan cakap nama lah, cakap sir, if my friend got problem kita tanya macam gitu don't cakap dia ni ada problem gini. If my friend got problem what to do then your school counselor insyaAllah can give you some of the attributes. They will chances show you the ways of trying to convince your friend to be receptive to help. Okay, saya tahu kadang-kadang it's hard, especially when the matters actually has something to do with family background and stuff like that, because dorang takut being judged. Tapi as I mentioned just now, okay, counselors, we are trained not to have preemptive thoughts about people. Okay, dulu bila kita, when I was studying kan, kita kena digest this thing this acronym SPABO DJ. SPABO, I forget lah, stereotype, prejudice, assumption, bias, objection, D is disrespectful, J is I forgot what's J I think judgmental. Yes, this thing kerok dalam kepala otak kan. Whatever we do, anything that we have to ask kita kena make sure we tell ourselves, are we being judgmental to our students, our clients? So trust us, as much as bila kita counsel students, kita counsel them kan, kita pun actually do a reflection at the same time. Okay, maybe reflection, okay, one thing that I did not mention in my talk today, reflection is one thing macam kalau dalam Islam kita panggil muhasabah diri. Okay, where we actually sit down and then we reflect what causes this problem. Okay, how can I overcome this problem? I have this problem, I need to get help, tapi I do not know that. So by having a lot of all these questions kan, you can relate this question to your best friend, and then kalau your best friend, then you listen to what your best friend has to say. Okay, if your best friend, because chances your best friend pun tak tahu macam mana nak handle, right? The best way is to actually relate it to your school counselors. Alright, kalau you can relate it to your mentor first, it will be better lah. Okay, sebab usually mentor is easier for you to relate. Alright, tapi kalau counselor, because counselors are trained to analyze certain problems, and then they will sit with you to think of alternative ways of handling that problems. Okay, of course counselor is a better source. Tapi kadang-kadang macam kita malu kan. Because kadang-kadang tak boleh nafikan. Kita anak-anak Melayu ni kan, banyak kaunselor-kaunselor kat sekolah semua pun nyonya-nyonya, macam apa tu, aci-aci. Jadi kita nak bilang kita bercerita pun kita malu sebab alah nanti apalah aci-aci ni tahu pasal cerita aku. Nanti adalah aci ni kan. Ayalah Malay lah ada mana. Jadi kita tak nak ada tu thing. Very rarely I bump into a counselor yang apa tu in the mid 30s ke apa, and then they will actually address some of the issues yang tu. Very rarely. Sometimes I have to come to school because there was no, I mean the counselor find difficult to build the bridge. Okay, even then also I also face some problems. Okay, I understand sometimes certain problems are very hard to relate, very hard to bring up because kita takut you are being judged as vulnerable. Tapi dalam hidup ni kan tak ada orang tak ada masalah. Ingatkan orang kaya-kaya semua tu tak ada apa tu masalah free ke? Diorang pun banyak masalah juga. Kadang-kadang masalah diorang kita orang yang biasa-biasa fikir, alamak, ini macam tak boleh handle ke? And then kalau diorang yang kaya pula tengok kita pun, alamak, ni macam tak boleh handle ke? So, masalah yang diorang face will not be similar to masalah kita. Everyone has a different set of challenges. Tapi to overcome those challenges, you need special help from people who are trained, from people who understands you totally, and people who take you for what you are. That's the most important thing. Okay, start off with your friends, then you climb up. Okay, talk to your mentors. At the end of the day, you still need professional help. Okay, counselling is not only for the problematic and for the sick. Banyak orang-orang Melayu fikir macam itu. Kau pergi counselling, kau pergi terapi, rabaknya. It's not rabak. Orang-orang yang bertauliah pun lawyers, doctors, they also go for counselling because they feel that sometimes they need to vent out a certain expression in them. So it's not a sick thing. It's not a thing for only psycho. Orang ada masalah-masalah tu. Siapa-siapa yang cakap macam itu is probably they are blocking orang punya ultra ego to show that they are not vulnerable. Okay? Think of it that way. Kita tak pernah anggap orang yang minta tolong kita semua vulnerable. We just feel that, a friend needs help. We want to try to find a resolution to it. That's the thing. Okay? Yeah.